way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, Mike Azzy, and I am joined by someone who did not boo Donovan McNabb all those years ago. Happy Donovan anniversary, Regz.
Listen, right back at you. I don't know if I can take the moniker of I've never booed Donovan McNabb.
Specifically on draft day.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, specifically on draft day.
I was about to say, he spiked a lot of footballs into the ground. I'm not sure if I can in my conscience say that I never booed the man. But you're right. On draft day, I did not.
On draft day, I don't think we were old enough to
That's exactly right. Wouldn't have known what was going on.
I don't think we really understood what was going on. We were still pretty young when Donovan was here. And yes, he had his struggles, but my goodness.
The start of our fandom was Donovan.
And we've been on a search for a quarterback ever since.
That's true.
You know, there's always my cousin always says, he's a Steeler fan, and he always says that, you know, when Ben was there, it didn't matter what else was going on or who else was on the team because they had Ben. And since they had Ben, they knew that they had a shot to get to the postseason, to get to a Super Bowl. I feel like we had that with Donovan, and we haven't had it since. I'm pausing because every year I've been like, well, Carson's that guy.
Yeah, right.
Like, you know what I mean? Oh, Mike Vick is back. Like, and I'm pausing on Jalen because I do believe that Jalen can be that. We've been to 3 straight postseasons with Jalen. But I'm not getting so far ahead of myself that I can say those exact words.
Yeah. We'll dive into a Jalen rabbit hole some other time. I don't think
we're
not leading with that tonight. So despite how much I want to talk about it, we'll move on.
I do want to shout him out. Did you see what he did today?
He gave like $200,000 to like a bunch of schools in Philadelphia, right?
For air conditioning.
Yeah.
Units. What a guy, dude. That's fantastic because can you imagine going to school this time of year?
This is the last thing we can say about this. Despite what anyone thinks about the guy, he's a good person.
Yes.
Despite what you want to talk about him as a football player, I'm not sure you could find. And again, there's plenty of football players out there who do a bunch of great things. We're not taking anything away from that.
Mm-hmm.
But Jalen, coming from nowhere near Philadelphia, and despite his age, like, has really embraced this city and this area, and just gets it, and gets what's important. He's not about fluff. He's not about like doing things that just so he can get his face on TV. He's like, no, don't put my face anywhere. I'm just going to give you guys the money for something that you desperately need.
Yes,
and that's it.
Yes, I. You know, you're right, and we'll leave it there for today. But I want to highlight, because, you know, we talked about Donovan, and the reason that we talked about that is because it is the anniversary of him being drafted. It is draft season.
That's right.
This is one of the best times of year. It's the NFL draft is next week. Baseball is now in full swing, pun intended, and the NBA playoffs are here. The Masters just finished. It is just such an exciting time of the sports year. But I will tell you, there is one thing that I hate about this time of year. And if you're watching this, you can see my eyes. Dude, allergy season.
Yeah.
Oh my, do you have allergies?
I don't.
Oh my gosh, Regz. Oh.
I don't.
And I was in Wichita this week, and they're even worse there than they are in Central PA.
Yeah, I mean, my wife has them. My older son absolutely does. I'm pretty sure the other two have it as well. I somehow do not. I'm not sure how. I just don't.
Well, last week I put the eye drops in before we started, and this week I did not. So if you aren't watching, you might want to tune in just
About
to
to say.
see what my left eye looks like.
It's only bourbon in that cup, nothing else.
No, goodness gracious. But it is brutal how much my eyes itch. And honestly, I don't even know if they're so dry from those flat lands of Wichita that I don't know if eye drops would even help tonight, to be honest with you. So if you see me messing with it, I apologize. But allergy season is just a nightmare for me.
You're fighting the good fight.
I'm fighting the good fight, man. I'm fighting the good fight. We're gonna keep plowing through. I wanna jump in, man, because we got a lot.
We got a lot. Yeah, we do. We got to hustle.
We are gonna hit on the Sixers here. We're gonna talk about last night, and then we're gonna make our predictions. And then we're gonna do the Phils. We are gonna play a little game tonight to honor the draft, and then we're gonna talk about the Eagles. And jump into my other two mock drafts. So let's start with the Sixers. Last night was the play-in game. They had to play the Heat, and I gotta tell you, man, like, we know what this time of year is like when you have to deal with the Miami Heat. They're a very difficult group to play. They're very well coached. They always have, ironically, after last night, it's funny to say, they always have a random role player step up and just dominate either a series or the postseason. And they proved to be that type of opponent through the first 2.5, almost 2 3/4 quarters. And were a very formidable foe for the Sixers, although I would argue the Sixers were a foe for themselves. I want to get your initial thoughts on the game last night. I have some thoughts that I want to fire off, but I want to turn it to you first and just, get your initial thoughts on what went down last night with them winning and advancing to play the Knicks.
Yeah.
Saturday.
My initial thought is I can't believe they won the game. They didn't deserve to win that game from the opening minutes. Seriously.
It was ugly.
They didn't deserve to win that game.
It was ugly.
And I think the bottom line is the thing I'm most disappointed about is that the two guys who are homegrown players failed us. I know you can talk about what Joel Embiid did in the last 5 minutes. Great. I don't really care because without Nicholas Batum in the rest of the minutes, you're losing by 20. And and Batum and Kelly Oubre, you're losing by 20 because your two guys absolutely no-showed for 40 minutes of that game. And I can't, it's very difficult for me to get past the fact that this is the Joel Embiid performance we got. We've talked about this a bunch. We talked about how this process and what it might have done to Joel Embiid, like the competitor and the basketball player. And to see this kind of perform, again, I understand what he did in the last 5 minutes. I get it. I understand how that contributed to them winning the basketball game. But again, if on the old side of his career role player in Nicholas Batum doesn't have the game of his life, this team is going home with their superstars playing about the worst game I've ever seen. And I thought maybe with a new coach, like with Nick Nurse, with a new set of role players around him without James Harden, that this Embiid wasn't going to be a thing anymore. And the fact that you're at home in this type of game with, by all accounts, I understand coming back from an injury, But by all accounts, again, we don't know everything. I don't know everything. Caveat. By all public accounts, a healthy Joel Embiid, that's what we got for 40 minutes. And this team they somehow pulled it out. They won't win a series with Joel playing that way. And quite frankly, I was extremely disappointed despite the win. I was extremely disappointed for what I thought this team could be, and how that game should have gone.
So it's so funny because I am more encouraged than I would have been had they blown out the Heat.
Perfect.
And I want to explain why. Because I feel last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they lose that game last night. They lose, period. And here are some of the reasons why they lose. Because Glenn continues to feed Joel and run an offense through him when he's clearly not playing well. That happens 100%. Nick Nurse didn't do that last night. Nick Nurse decided he wasn't going to run the offense through Joel anymore. Number two, Tobias Harris is on the court the last 4 minutes of the game if Glenn Rivers is still the head coach of the 76ers. Instead, Kyle Lowry and Kelly Oubre were on the floor last night, and they were dogs. Like, Kyle Lowry, I know you talked about Oubre, you talked about Batum. I want to talk about Kyle Lowry.
Oh, he was for sure the third best one. Absolutely.
We sort of laughed off Kyle Lowry when they brought him over. We were like, oh, whatever, like, he's done. That dude was playing like he was shot out of a cannon last night when he was on the court. Like, he is gonna put we did this with PJ Tucker last year, but this is a different type of put everything out there player than Tucker is. I loved it when he banged the three in the first quarter and immediately turned and just sprinted back down the floor to make sure he was there to cover Jimmy Butler. Like, sent Oubre over to the other side of the court to make sure he was covering Jimmy Butler. So those are two of the things that I want to talk about, right? From the coaching perspective, that were very different. That gave me a sense of, yes, like, all right, the coaching is different in the postseason. Because with Glenn, they lose that game by 20. Done. They lose by 20. They never come back. The other piece that I want to talk about is feeding off of what you talked about, which is this group of role players is far better than any other group of role players that they've ever had in terms of what comes off the bench. That's always been a thing we talk about in the postseason. All these teams they lose to are deeper than them. This team is one of the deepest the Sixers have had. So I do want to give kudos to the building of this team. Yes, you are right. Nick Batum played the game of his life last night. But when's the last time a role player stepped up because Joel was struggling or Maxey was struggling? Right? Like, one of the other guys that we sort of made fun of when he came over. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name. The lefty shooter. Cam
Payne.
Yeah, comes in and bangs a corner three after not playing all night. Comes in down 5 and puts home a corner three in like his 4 minutes of play. Kelly Oubre with the huge and one late in the game. We already talked about what Kyle Lowry did. Paul Reed gave some really great minutes last night defensively. You know, and also let's not cut short what Nick Batum did defensively last night. I mean, he guarded everybody 1-5 last night and did it well, and then had the huge block shot at the end of the game. And again, in the press conference after, said that the coaches told him the exact thing the Heat were going to do. I can promise you that's not something a Doc Rivers staff ever did.
I completely agree with you. And I'm not taking away any of that. But you know what that does? It wins you one game. It doesn't win you a 7-game series.
But it wins you one game that you had to win to get to the 7-game series.
That's great. But you know what doesn't win you 7-game series? All your role players having the game of their life. Your coach, like, again, I think the Nick Nurse thing is more consistent because he's been a consistent coach. In the playoffs, when basketball gets like this, the thing that wins you playoff series is your stars. Your role players have to play well. I'm not taking away from that. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that they can be complete zeros.
No.
But if I will take this to anything, put this in Denver. If Jokic and Murray play like this, they don't beat the Lakers in that 7-game series. Every single game was close.
As long as LeBron and Davis play like they're supposed to play, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, we've seen our guys they didn't play well. They didn't. Like, in Sacramento, their best players stepped up to beat Golden State. Like, we're going to probably see Jalen Brunson play pretty well. I don't think they have enough around him to, like, I really think the Sixers have a real chance to win this series, quite honestly, because I don't think Brunson can beat you by himself. He'll win you a game or two, but, like, I don't think he can win a 7-game series by himself. But it's just the sheer, like, really? Like, really?
I get it. But I also like sitting through the 4 quarters last night, and I know you saw it too. Like, I don't know how many times Joel got the ball without 2 dudes running at him. Like,
fair. But you know what I did see? I saw him hold the ball for 30 seconds against double teams.
He did. There were multiple possessions where he screwed up, but he also made one of the best passes I've seen Joel Embiid make at the end of the game when he found Oubre off of a double. So, look, we definitely got the Joel shoulders hanging. We got that. We saw it last night. Maxey was playing very scattered, which is not the norm for him at all. He's not that type of player. I don't know what was going on last. I don't know if the zone had him entirely screwed up or what, but that was like watching him run around and throw passes to nobody and dribble into just absolute muck over and over again. It felt like I was just watching a team that, like, the guys who had been there were like, oh, yep, here we are, playoffs. We know what they were supposed to choke. So, and I just hope that gave them a little bit of confidence, because I do feel like if they're ever going to get to a final, to me, this is the year. It's just such a weak East. And if Joel and Ty, like you said, can play like stars, because we know they are, and the role players do what they did last night, and I believe that they can. It's a very talented group of role players. Then I truly do believe that they can get there. But I don't disagree with you from the standpoint of, like, they were bad last night. Those 2 were bad. But I'm encouraged because they still won despite them being bad against a team that usually wins in the postseason. So that's where I'm at. I do want to talk a little bit about the series. If there's nothing else you want to add.
No, we're good. Nope, we're good.
Okay. So let's talk about the series. You already mentioned Jalen Brunson. Julius Randle's out.
Huge deal. Such a big deal.
I think OG is back.
Yes. I don't know in what capacity, though. Like, how long has he been back?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
Okay.
But like you said, this is a Knicks team. I've heard a lot of people say today that from a Knicks fan perspective, they didn't want the Sixers. The Knicks were like, oh, we worked this hard to get a 2 seed, and now they got to play this Sixers team who's 32-8 with Joel Embiid playing. They're probably one of the best 7 seeds the NBA has ever seen in terms of, like, team build and structure and star power. So, you know, going into Saturday, the Knicks are only 2.5-point favorites at home, and I think that will be smaller by Saturday at 6. Is my initial guess. During the season, they were 1-3. The Sixers were 1-3 against the Knicks. The only game they had Joel in, they got their doors blown off. I don't remember what happened in that game very well. I know he scored 30, so I don't know what happened. I think it was the game where like Anunoby and Brunson just couldn't miss. I think it was one of their first games.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look.
I think it was his first game, but we'd have to look and see. The Knicks are 50-32. The Sixers are finished 3 games behind them at 47-35. So, look, they're both led by stars in the league, Joel and Jalen Brunson. The injuries that are listed right now are D'Anthony Melton, game time decision. Covington's out. Randall is out. Charlie Brown is out. So it looks like Anunoby is healthy. But I don't know how many games he's played. So I'll look at, while you're just giving initial thoughts on the series.
Initial thoughts. Have they played the Sixers with Kyle Lowry?
I think I'll look at the schedule.
Okay. Even if they did, they didn't have Joel Embiid. So, I think the addition of Lowry makes a huge difference in the Brunson defense. The Sixers have no one to deal with Brunson's kind of combination of size and strength at that position. And especially with Anunoby, they're not going to want to put like an Oubre or a Batum on Brunson just because of Anunoby's ability. I think literally Kyle Lowry might be the perfect person to guard Jalen Brunson because he's not going to like lose in the sort of strength and leverage department where Brunson really does overmatch a good amount of point guards. Yeah. Not having Julius Randle is a huge deal because even if you had to put Joel on him or Toby or Batum, like Julius Randle is a really good player. And none of those guys really have the strength to deal with him down low. So him not being there is a huge deal. I think the Sixers have the ability to defend the Knicks. Like you have to guard Anunoby, you have to guard Josh Hart. They got someone else, Bogdanovich, I think they got, but he hasn't been playing particularly well. I just think the Knicks also don't have anyone to guard Joel Embiid. And he loves playing in New York. He loves playing in Madison Square Garden. So I'm really hoping that like this kind of kicks him into gear. And yeah, I just think they're better equipped to guard the Knicks without Julius Randle on the floor. It's a huge deal that he's not there because I think it'd be very different if he was healthy.
Yeah, they did play 3 times with Lowry, and the Sixers are 1-2.
Okay.
In those 3 games. Brunson had
but not Joel.
Joel didn't play in any of the games where Lowry was there.
Got it. Yeah.
He played in the first one. Actually it looks as though they've never the Sixers and Knicks have not played where 2 of the 4 have played. I was looking to see if Maxey played in a handful or in 2 of them. He was hurt in the other 2. I think you're right. When you look, Hardenstein is the guy who's going to be spending most of the minutes guarding Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't think he's a defensive challenge for Joel. But you know what they're going to do? They're going to throw the kitchen sink at the Sixers. I do think that the Sixers hold a major coaching advantage in this series. I don't think Tibbs is anywhere near the stratosphere of Nick Nurse. It's just my, personal opinion. The last time that Tibbs coached against the Sixers in the postseason, we were in college, and the Sixers upset the Bulls.
That's right. I forgot about that.
So let's hope for a little bit of that happening. You're right. Bogdan is there. He has struggled as of late. Brunson is clearly the best player. Dante DiVincenzo is another player to
Mhm.
kind of watch in this series. He's one of the. He's a Nova player.
And he's got playoff
No,
experience with the Warriors. Like he's
he
not
does. Yep.
he's
Yep.
not a nobody.
Yep. And like you said, Josh Hart is on this roster. They're a good roster.
Yeah.
I do believe if we were to do our quick look at top to bottom position by position, I think I'd take the Sixers. I'd take Joel over Hartenstein clearly. Do we take? Well, I don't know who necessarily starts for them. I don't know if Ichawa starts for them or Hart starts for them at 4.
I think Hart starts.
Hart?
I think
Well,
Anunoby is probably the 4. And Hart's probably the 3.
Okay. It has Anunoby as the 3, but either way, you match them up forward by forward. They're both probably better than Toby and what do you call it?
Batum.
But well, Batum didn't start last night. Jesus, Oubre.
Yeah.
Maxey's better than DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
And Brunson's better than Lowry.
Yeah.
So from the starting perspective, the Knicks hold the advantage, but I do think when you look at their depth, the Sixers hold the advantage on the bench, and the Sixers hold the advantage on the bench in terms of a coach too. So, it just comes down to, like you said before, can the stars outplay the Knicks stars? And I think the Sixers stars, are better in totality. Like Joel's a top 5 player, top 6 player in the league. What would you say Brunson is? 20, top 20, 15, 20, maybe?
Yeah, it's probably closer to 12 or 15.
12 or 15. Okay. All right. So, we as we look at this and we say starting position by position, they probably own 3-2, Sixers own bench, Sixers own coach, right? Are we in agreement on that?
Yeah, Tibbs is obviously more the defensive side, but I'm not sure he still has his fastball from like back in the day.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's going to take a little bit of a page out of what Spoelstra did to them and try some zone.
Absolutely.
Especially because they don't have the height to guard Joel. They're going to try and make them, take shots. And here's the other thing. Buddy Hield was a different player in the second half that he was in the first half. Not afraid to pull it and be aggressive. So he's going to be a key in this series if they do decide to go zone. They're going to need zone beaters. So that's the reason they brought him here.
Yeah, right.
And same with Batum. There's a reason that those guys are here. So we'll see with that. But let's make a prediction here before we move. 7-game series, 2-2, 1-1-1. Sixers would get games 3 and 4, and then get game 6 if it got there at home. What do you got? How many games? Go for it, big man.
Sixers in 7.
In 7. I got him in 6.
Yeah.
I'd love it if we could do it in less, though, guys.
Yeah,
We
that'd
could
be
just-
fantastic. It's like 6 is probably my choice if Joel Embiid shows up for any of the first 40 minutes last night. Seriously, like
Fair.
dead serious. If we see the MVP Joel Embiid in last night's game and they beat the Heat by 15 like they should have with Hero and how he was shooting, and Jimmy Butler playing on like a hurt MCL, like this, I'm calling the Sixers in 6 as like the worst possible scenario.
Yeah. And look, we'll take it if that's what it ends up being. And then you move on to live another day. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Yep.
So, all right. I got him in 6. You got him in 7. They play on Saturday, game 1 at 6:00. So we'll be buckled in.
Here we
nice
go.
And tight. There we go. Another postseason with the Sixers.
Yep.
Can't wait. Just never causes any kind of anxiety.
You're gonna have to switch that bourbon to Sixers juice
Yeah,
instead of Phillies juice for a
It's
week or so.
Unbelievable. Speaking of the Phils.
Speaking of them,
So when we last spoke, they were coming off a game 1 victory over the Pirates in their 4-game series. They ended up splitting that series. which is sort of what we were hoping for. I think that was like our, worst case scenario. They absolutely could have won 3 of 4 and did not come through. They had a shot to do it on Sunday when you were there,
Yeah.
and just couldn't get the big hit, and then made a defensive mistake, and it all fell apart for Wheeler from there. But then they came back and they swept a team they're supposed to sweep.
Yes.
And to me, that is a huge sign this early in the year, because I do feel as though in past seasons they have struggled beating those teams early in the year, and that's been infuriating. I still remember, I think it was 2 years ago, Alvarado gave up a home run to that Tapia guy in
Oh,
Colorado
yeah.
late in the game, and we were
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, like this is, and they ended up losing like 2 or 3 from the Rockies, or 3 or
Yeah.
something. So, they took care of the Rockies. And I want to start here. This rotation is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. I mean, look, Aaron Nola came out and did his thing in game 1 of this series. It was great to see him put a bad team down.
Yeah.
I think he went 7.
Yep.
That was great. And then Ranger comes out and is like, I'm just going to do my thing and go nuts.
Yeah.
And look fantastic doing it. Christopher Sanchez, not to be outdone, comes out last night, goes 6 strong, walks 1, strikes out 10, and had like 16 whiffs last night. 16 swing and misses at the major league level is pretty ridiculous if you're only throwing sinker and change
Yeah.
with a slider here and there. Regz, this rotation, pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Pretty darn good.
Yeah. I think they've
They're-
had 1 earned run over the past week or so.
27 innings. 1 earned run in 27 innings.
Yeah.
That's pretty ridiculous.
That's pretty good.
They're gonna have a decision coming up here soon. I think it's pretty clear that it'll be Turnbull going to the bullpen. But if someone starts to struggle, and by someone I mean Sanchez or Walker,
Taiwan. Yeah.
then you can turn to him.
Yeah.
Like he can come out and pitch 5 or 6. I mean, he's a unpredictable 5 or 6 because he's not out there throwing a ton of strikes.
No,
Like,
he's just slinging it.
Everything's a full count.
Mhm.
Like it's not efficient.
Yeah.
And that's okay. He's still, doing the thing.
Yeah.
Pitching against his former team tomorrow to
That's
start
right.
this series against, or no, sorry, he's a former Tiger.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
They're playing the White Sox. For some reason, the Tigers were sticking ahead. But starting the weekend, and this is one of these games where you look at it and you're like, goodness gracious, if they win this game, they better win. And I know that the Wheeler starts haven't come with W's, but he's still been just fine and perfectly Zach Wheeler. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that Zach Wheeler's 0-4 is absurd. I know this last game was like what it was, but again, it starts with a Bohm error, and just kind of snowballs for no reason. Yeah, them being 0-4 in his starts is like classic Phillies. Just having your stud absolutely never win a game for him. But look, it also seemed like we were only going to ever score 2 runs in every single game that we appear in for quite a long time.
Right.
So it was great to see Schwarber hit a couple really hard. Turner continues to be probably the best hitter on the team. And yeah, this rotation is just like we say all the time, like it's baseball. You still have to go out and win the game. Like I get it. Some teams are worse than others, but if their pitcher doesn't have it, like we saw it. We saw the Rockies hit around Gregory Soto. Like he didn't have it.
Yeah.
Like we saw it. Like your pitchers have to have it. They have to still make pitches and get these guys out. Mm-hmm. And this rotation has just been exceptional.
Yeah, and to be fair, so is the bullpen up until what happened yesterday, right? I mean, they've been really good. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you know, Sir Anthony, you sent me a message the other day, like, oh, there, well, he's got to give up a home run
Yeah,
whenever
just
he
has
comes
to give
in the
up one of
game.
them, you know.
And outside of, you know, his little hiccups and you know, the Brogdon stuff early in the year, the bullpen's been fantastic, and it was nice that the offense gave them enough last night to withstand. It's funny because, you know, Jose comes in the game and just like basically glides through
Yeah.
the 9th inning. So, you know, even with everything that happened in the 8th, the real piece of that pen came in and did exactly what
And
it was
again,
supposed to do.
if you throw Strom in the 7th, like that probably doesn't happen.
Right.
Like Soto just has these variances. Like we know this.
Yeah.
And again, Hoffman isn't going to get out of every jam. Like it's really hard to have the bases loaded and get out of it with no runs. Like again, he kind of did it to himself. He overthrew when he was at 2-2. He walked a guy for no reason. You know, like he kind of did it to himself. But again, he probably was ready to just like sit down that whole night and not really need to go. And all of a sudden, Soto's like doing what he does.
Which is, to me, I'm like, that would have been a spot where I would have gone to Kirkering.
Right.
And it's you know, you're splitting hairs at this point by even saying this. But like think about it, Regz. Like, you know, this is a guy who's just coming off the IL, and it's an opportunity to just like get him in there again.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know, but it's splitting hairs.
No, I think I agree with you.
You know, and we talked a little bit about the offense. I agree. I love what I'm seeing from Turner. I'm happy Schwarber is hitting home runs now and not just singles. Although he was on base 5 times all against these over the weekend, which is really cool. You know, Bohm's kind of sticking in there doing his thing still. Marshy, same thing. JT homered. Bryce has had some decent swings in the series, struggled a little. But it seems like some of these guys are starting to come around a little bit.
Rojas had 2 of the hardest balls I've ever seen him hit.
Yes, sir. At 200 at the Mendoza line, which leaves one guy.
Well, I might argue 2.
Listen, Stott is.
I love that you knew where I was going.
I knew exactly where you're going. Stott is still like last night. He had like a 10 pitch at bat. Like it's there. It's getting there. I'm not. It is not. We're not talking that is apples and oranges. These two guys are apples and oranges.
Fair. Okay.
I mean, maybe Bryson is more apples to what we're used to with him right now, but the two aren't. It's not in the same ballpark. With what we're seeing from Nick Castellanos right now, it's to a point where
I don't know if he knows what's coming in.
They have to
sit him for a few days. They have to do what they did with Rojas. They have to sit him for a day or 2.
It's just plain and simple. Have to consider letting him take some time, because this is at a point where the swings are so bad.
Yeah.
He's the only qualified hitter in baseball without an extra base hit rank.
Yeah.
I sent you his hit map this week. He has,
Yeah.
I think he has 8 hits. 5 of them are infield hits.
Yeah.
I sent you his baseball savant card. He's in the bottom like 15 percentile in pretty much every category.
It's tough.
Here's one hopeful thing. Most hard hit non-ground balls among hitters without a home run this year. So on average, 16% of hard hit non-ground balls go for hits. He's got 11. So there are times where he's hitting the ball hard in the air. It's just not going out. And I'm not sure why that is.
I mean, he's standing too far away from the plate, and he's completely forgotten about the right side of the field. He stands too far away. He swings at these pitches that he thinks are over the plate, and because of where he's standing, they look over the plate, and they're not.
I mean, I'd sent you a message about like the possibility of LASIK.
Yeah, like at this point, this is what we're coming up with.
That's where I am.
Right.
I don't understand how this guy was who he was for years. And now he's this.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't.
And look, I don't want to belabor because I feel like we talk about Nick on every show. But I think we're at the juncture where like we wouldn't be upset if Topper was like, look,
They need to do what they did with Trey. Like he sat
Here's-
down Trey for a day or two.
yeah.
Like he has to. This can't, like he has to reset.
And if it continues, they got to be okay with doing what they did with Didi, which is like you just phantom IL him
Yeah.
when the trade deadline comes around because he's killing them.
Yeah.
He's doing nothing to bring value to this team right now. He's
Yeah.
actually negative value on the base, negative value at the plate, and negative value. And I love the guy. I love him as a human being, as a father, as everything. I love the guy. There are certain players, Regz, that I watch, and when they struggle, I don't care. Like I don't have any connection to them,
Yeah.
and I'm not bothered by it, right? And a lot of these guys, like Whit Merrifield struggling right now, I'm not bothered by it.
Right.
And it's not, and not for any other reason than I just don't have like he seems like an okay guy, but it doesn't pain me. It's paining me
Yeah.
to watch Nick Castellanos struggle because I know how much he cares,
Yeah.
and it's really hard, and I
It's
can't imagine what it feels like for him.
he's just up there swinging at everything. Like and just at a certain point you have to just let him sit down and take a breather.
So we'll see if that's coming. I'm assuming it's not going to be right this series. I think if there are certain get right
Again,
teams,
but like why not? Like why not sit him down against a terrible team where putting in Pache doesn't make that big of a difference?
well, I mean, I think I'd argue it makes a huge difference for positive, both defensively and offensively.
Well,
I
right,
think-
but I just mean like where your team, like again, it's not going against like the best pitchers you've ever seen, so you might as well.
That's why I'm keeping him in there.
I
if there's-
gotcha.
If there's,
I hear
if
you.
there's a
Yeah.
if there's a get right situation, it's against really bad.
I got you. Yeah.
When I get on the road and I'm facing some of these teams that are about to get on the base, then I'm probably changing my tone a little
Yeah.
bit. All right, so they've got 3 coming up here. I would love a sweep. I feel like, I know it's aggressive, but after I saw them do against the Rockies, this team's just as bad, if not worse than
Yeah.
the bad baseball team they're about to play.
Yes.
So, you win that game tomorrow night, which I will be there for.
There you go.
Then you've got Wheeler and Nola, and just go get the win. Which means I'm going to see Stubbsy tomorrow.
There you
because
go.
he has been Spencer Turnbull's personal catcher. So might throw on the Stubbsy jersey tomorrow.
We'll be there on Sunday. So
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm there on Sunday.
there you go.
So yeah. So, but we want to play a quick game here. This is gonna be a season long, we've decided. Now that the first part of the year is gone, we're gonna do a little fantasy draft with the Phillies. We're gonna do 5 players each. We must each take 1 starting pitcher, 1 relief pitcher, and 1 or 3 position players. And we will be tracking their stats. We will have a point system in place for it. So like relievers, a save, a strikeout, those will be points. Wins for pitchers, strikeouts for pitchers will be points. I will track those as we go. And we will have a point system for offense, similar points for home runs, stolen bases, batting average stuff, things like that. At the end of each month, we will do a check-in. It'll be monthly. I'll do weekly. Monthly. We will check in, and you can make 1 move to your roster at the end of each month. So I can move a player, right?
Mm-hmm.
Off of my roster and add somebody. Regz and I can work out a trade live on the air if we want to. If I'm looking for something for him, but you need me, we can certainly do that. And then we'll do a round of beers when we golf together.
That's right. That's right.
When we get to the fall. So we're gonna do the draft. The reason that we're not just doing it, let's talk about the best players, because we want to be able to look through like forward. So that adds some strategy to
That
it, because
does.
there are some guys struggling early that might not be struggling long. And some guys that are playing really well right now, I wouldn't want to take.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do this. Here's how we're gonna do it though. I'm gonna write a number down,
Okay.
because I don't know who should be picking first.
Yeah, I don't know
So I'm
either.
gonna write a number down between 1 and 10.
Okay.
If you are within one on either side, it's your pick. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. All right. What's your guess?
6.
You got it. It was 7. You can't. There
All right,
it is.
there
It
you
was
go.
7. So the first pick is yours. We will do. Do you want to do snake? So you get the
Yes.
first. I get 2. You get.
Yep.
2. All right.
That works.
All right. So you get to go first, buddy.
Zachary Wheeler.
I've kind of figured that's where you're going. So that's your starter. I'm gonna take Trey.
Well done. You got another one, man. Snake draft.
Oh, I do.
You're up again.
I'm gonna take Bryce.
Well done. That's tough. The snake draft just kind of bit me in the ass there. It's tough. Okay.
get 2.
Give me Alvarado,
I like it.
and then give me Schwarber.
All right, I'm gonna take. So it's interesting because you won't take any more pitchers,
I don't need
so
to.
I can
Yep.
wait. I get. Well, it doesn't matter either way. All right, I'm gonna take. Do I dare? I dare. I'm gonna take Marshy.
Oh God.
And I'm gonna take Ranger.
Nice. Okay. Give me.
Position
I
players.
need 2 position players. Give me JT.
Okay.
And then give me Stott.
Oh, right. I'm gonna take Hoff.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm gonna take Hoff. Although his numbers could be very volatile based on when they bring him into games. Although earned runs will matter, so maybe not as volatile as I think. I almost went Strami because he's been so.
That's
freaking good.
yeah, that would have been a good one.
But at the end of the month, I'm gonna see where we're at and go from there. So here's who we got. Regz has Wheeler, Alvarado, Schwarbs, JT, and Stotty baby. I've got Hoff, Ranger, Turner, Harp, Marshy Boo.
You kicked my ass offensively, and I think I got you in pitching.
Well, it's interesting because when you went with the pitcher first, I was like, oh man, I get 2 offensive players.
It was a real decision. I
Yeah.
was really close to picking Trey first, quite honestly.
I was probably going to take Ranger either way, even with Wheeler on the board.
Well, that was going to be my next thing. Was if I was going to pick a position player, I figured you would have gone Wheeler with one of your picks,
Yeah.
and then my next one was going to be Ranger, but it was going to be Trey and then Ranger probably.
So we have a little fantasy baseball now to sort of track. We'll do updates as we go throughout each episode, but we are not going to do like stop and trade out guys until the end of each month. We're doing it now because next week's episode isn't really an episode. Talk about that when we come around. So we wanted to do it now before then. So all right, that's good stuff. I like it. That was fun. So we'll track that and keep you posted on a week by week.
God, the Trey Bryce back-to-back was a killer.
Yeah,
I
baby.
thought maybe you
Yeah,
would
baby.
go a pitcher with the second pick.
No. When I knew that you were not taking
Nah,
pitching,
I know.
that was the advantage of the draft, unfortunately. Okay, so we are into the Eagles. We talked about this before the show. I do want to just mention this, that there were these bull crap rumors again about AJ Brown. Albert Breer of NBC Sports for Boston, where a lot of people are tying AJ to today because of him posting stuff about the Patriots. Said earlier that the Eagles have shut down every team who has tried to trade for receiver AJ Brown and told teams that he is not available. So we can just put that to rest for anybody still
It's
out
not.
there.
AJ's just fucking with people. Like he just
knows
enjoys getting people riled up.
He knows what he's doing. But that will not stop us from our draft coverage.
Yeah.
Do
you want to just talk? Sorry, I know I'm springing this on you. Do we want to just talk Devontae very quickly?
Oh my gosh, we have to.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. No, not springing it on me. I can't believe I forgot to mention that before the show. What a great job by Howie Roseman. And for a lot of reasons. We've talked about they're so enamored with when they have a homegrown talent, keeping them around. Devontae's that guy. The deal that Devontae got is going to look immaculate when these wide receivers that are coming up on the market sign. Like when the Justin Jeffersons of the world sign, this is going to be absolutely insane to look at. So the deal itself, and you'll have to excuse me while I pull it up here. But the deal itself is very team friendly because, as they always do, the Eagles decided a bunch of cash at Devontae Smith rather than try and do a lot of cap stuff. So they threw signing bonus things at him, and Devontae's deal currently, I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through my stuff to find the deal. Not great podcasting from me. That is on me. I'm not finding the numbers. It's somewhere around 25 million is what it is. But they just locked down 2 top 10 wide receivers through 2025. Will both of them still be on the team that long? I don't know. But Devontae is the type of wide receiver that this city has ached for. He is the guy who's out there every Sunday. He missed one game in his first 3 or 4 seasons. One game. That's it. He is quick. He's a great route runner. He's explosive. He can go up and get it. He's aggressive at the point of the catch. It's the right move. It's the right move. You sign these guys, and look, what they also did was added a 5th year onto the end of it that is really up to them whether or not they want it. And that's the best part of this. Like, if they want him in that 5th year, he's theirs. This to have this type of player for this stretch of time, enormous.
I mean, just think about, I found ESP tweeted the cap hits. So let's 2024, 8.1, 2025, 7.5, 26, 10.7, 27, 14, 28, 20. You're not paying him, like, you're not getting a cap hit for 4 years with this kind of player.
And even then, they'll just spread it out like they always do. They'll basically take some of it, turning into a signing bonus that they can give him cash, and
you're right. It was
avoid future years.
It's a 3 year, $75 million contract. I believe with like 51 to 55, 51 guaranteed, I think was the number. But it's exactly what you said. I think all you need to know is go watch the Tampa Bay playoff game with no AJ Brown and a team that was absolutely on the ropes. You know who showed up? Devontae Smith. Like, this is a Heisman Trophy winner from a premium college program who has come in, worked his tail off, has been a great locker room guy, is great with the media. Like, clearly has developed a relationship with AJ Brown. He's the best, and to have this guy locked up is like a huge deal, because not only did he play well, but he proved that if something happens to AJ, this guy can go out and get you. Like, can be the guy.
He's only gonna get better.
Exactly.
He's only getting better. And you mentioned the Tampa Bay playoff game. I would even say go back to the Kansas City the Super Bowl game.
Yeah.
The whole first possession was Devontae Smith.
Right.
It was just Jalen finding Devontae. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. He's a special player, and certainly will live on in this city's lore. I mean, you said it really well, that he has a good relationship with his teammates, his coaches, the media, and the fan base.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, you want to know who's going to be like the second in command under Jalen pretty soon is Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I remember when he was a rookie, they said he pretty owned the wide receiver as a rookie.
He's just got a great maturity, a great sense of like what he has to do to be great.
Yeah.
And a pure fearlessness on the football field.
I do love when they say that he, like, when they ask him, like, what's your off season like? He's like, just pretty much eat and play video games. Like, I love this kid, man. I'm
He's
so excited
like,
about it.
it's awesome. It's a great, I love that they did it now. I love that there's no questioning. There's no way for Devontae to question if he's wanted here or not.
Yeah. And, you know, again, when we look at this in the near future, and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are getting these huge numbers.
And what's his name? From Dallas. Jesus.
Oh, CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah. Like, you're exactly right. To get it done now, before that market kind of sets itself.
Yeah.
Was a huge deal.
Again, how he's able to do, and again, I want to make sure that I highlight whichever allows him.
Yes.
It's remarkable.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. So that does not deter them, though.
That's right.
Still think they're getting a wide receiver in this draft.
Yeah, you still need a third.
So I've got 2 mocks ready to go.
Can't wait.
We're gonna hit you with them.
Based on your pre-pod excitement, this is gonna be a good one.
Well, I like both of them. Again, I did it similar to last time. One where I did not allow myself any trades. One where I did. I like both of these better than both of last week's by a lot.
All right.
So I'm going to start with the non-trade one, because I really like the trade one.
All right.
So at number 22, took who I believe could be the most versatile offensive lineman in the draft. Graham Barton from Duke. He plays all line positions. The versatility is there. He'll start as a guard, but I can very much guarantee that he could be Lane's replacement. I don't know that he's going to get to 22. And if he does, I don't know that they take him there. I could see them moving back. So I just took him there because I couldn't trade.
Yeah.
And I liked him more than other guys. I will tell you, Cooper DeJean was there though.
Yeah.
I almost
that's
took
fine.
him.
I'm cool with that.
Number 50, I did take this guy last week in the same version. Edrin Cooper, linebacker from A&M. Love him. So if he's there, I was going to take him every time. 53, I did something that I didn't do last time. I took a tight end.
Okay.
I took Ben Sinnott, tight end out of Kansas State, who I think it's hard because Bowers is clearly the best tight end in this draft. The second one, I can't decide between Sinnott or the kid from Texas. I haven't quite made up my mind. I like Sinnott. I think he's a little more Ertz than he is Goddard.
Okay.
Like not as fast.
Yeah.
But he's got really good hands. gets open, settles well in space. Whereas like Goddard's like a catch the ball in coverage, freak athlete, can move. So a little more Ertz.
Mhm.
Then I was really shocked because I have this guy like in my top 100. Jermaine Burton, wide receiver out of Alabama. Dude can straight fly.
Yeah.
Like this dude straight flies. I when he was there at 120, I was like, okay then,
Yeah. Right. Thank you.
thank you. And it was already better than both of my drafts from last week.
Yeah.
I didn't care what came to me after this. I still like what I got at 161 because last week I didn't take a corner until 210. But I took Eli Jones from Boston College, who was a 3-year starter at BC. In the ACC, that's pretty good. It's probably something to work with. And again, the Eagles are known to take corners late day 2 or early day 3. So Eli Jones took an edge rusher from Clemson. So pedigree there, Xavier Thomas at 171. And went back to good old Justin Ibiogbe, defensive tackle out of Bama. You'll be hearing him again later. And then took Mark Perry, a safety, with 210. So, look, it's never going to be like beautiful once you get to like,
Yeah.
I kind of lie. It's this next one is beautiful all the way through 170. But, you know, in a situation where you're not trading for picks,
Right.
it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Right. But if they walk away with versatile offensive lineman, starting linebacker,
Mm-hmm.
Dallas Goedert replacement, and burning speed receiver that can play outside and in as their first 4
Yeah.
picks,
Not bad.
we take that. In comparison, last week took starting corner Nate Wiggins, a defensive tackle, which are already deep at, linebacker, and running back with the first 4 picks.
Yeah.
Wasn't great, Regz.
Yeah.
It was not great. Because I don't necessarily think that, you know, that running back situation should happen before they take a wide receiver
I think the corner pick is great because it's a need, and I
Yeah.
think the guy you picked is like a great cover corner, which is
Yeah, Nate
something they
Wiggins.
desperately
That's very
need.
it's very good. But after that,
yeah.
All right. So big fan of that one. Gave that one myself a B. I graded all 4 of these. Gave that one a B. I gave last week's non-trade a C. And I gave the other one that I did trades in actually a D. I did not love that one. I really did not like it at all. But I will tell you that I'm a huge fan of. And here's the difference. In this trade one, I got aggressive and just decided I'm gonna move.
All right.
Like I'm gonna make trades. So let's get going. It got to pick 19, and there was a guy on the board that was still there who I really wanted because I've been reading so much about it. So I took pick 22 and pick 53 and moved up to 19. Also took pick 99 from the Rams
Okay.
for Quinyon Mitchell, corner from Toledo, who everybody has talked about as being one of the more underrated picks, underrated players in this draft. Good length,
Mhm.
good speed, really good in zone, which Vic Fangio tends to play.
Yes.
Can play man, but off ball man, not a press corner, which I know we don't always love, but we got to get used to it because Vic Fangio is not pressing.
Yeah.
But let me just put it out there. So moved up for Quinyon Mitchell. Very excited about that.
Okay.
At pick 50, went back to a guy that I took last week. A guy that I believe can play inside and outside on the line. Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State. Shocked he was there at 50.
Okay.
Thrilled he was there at 50, so we took him. So, right away, corner, offensive line. What I would argue are their two biggest needs going into this draft. Handled. But we're not done yet, bud. At pick number 99, you thought I was getting a burner in Burton? Johnny Wilson, wide receiver, FSU. This dude is pure gasoline and can make plays in coverage, can go up and get it. He's a little taller, so sometimes like when he drops down in routes, he's not like as fluid. But that's something I feel like can be developed. This would be a remarkable pick for the Eagles. Johnny Wilson's on a lot of big boards.
Yeah.
I can tell you that right now. So you got your receiver now too. All right. So those are the three things, outside of edge rush.
Mm-hmm.
But edge is this is not the draft for edge, man.
Right.
It's just not. It's not. Next year's that draft. This is not it. All right. So I did go to the well here. 128 was the next pick. I had 120, traded it to the Bills, 120 and 210 for 128 and 160. At 128, I took Aldrich Estime, running back out of Notre Dame.
Okay.
I do think they need another running back. Right now, it's Kenny Gainwell and Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
And a couple of like undrafted or guys who got released. They took them in on basically nothing. Estime is the type of running back they don't have. Power, speed, very smart runner. Does have some issues with putting the ball on the ground. But won't be getting a ton of carries.
Right.
Either. So took him there. And then I double dipped at corner. Decided that I was going to move up for a corner.
Okay.
So I moved up twice for corner in this draft. I told you I was getting aggressive.
You're right.
I traded pick 161 and 172 to Carolina for 141 and 240. And I went up and I got somebody who I believe is a very underrated corner in this draft. I watched him every Saturday. He came in as a running back, moved to receiver, then played 2 years at corner at Notre Dame and became one of the best corners in the country. Cam Hart. Very athletic, had a great combine. Think he's going to be a very good pro. I don't know that he's going to be an every down starter. I think he's going to be a perfectly capable depth cornerback. They need to get younger here. This gives them two fresh corners to add to what they got in the last two drafts. With Ringo and Regz, it's a nice starting point.
Mm-hmm.
He can come in and give you snaps. He's played at a high level, and it gives you a little bit of safety with the kid from Toledo who didn't really play at a high level.
Yeah.
He played not as great competition. Cam Hart played some of the best competition in the country and locked down when he did that. And started a ton of games, like didn't miss many games at all. So there's a lot to be said for his availability
Mm-hmm.
too. And then at 160, I was like, oh man, I don't know if get anything good here. And I found us a linebacker.
Okay.
And a darn good one. One that I actually didn't love watching play because of where he played. And again, might not be the every down linebacker, but perfect depth who played at a really high level in college. Tommy Eichenberg, linebacker out of Ohio State. This dude is straight downhill. He plays with a ton of energy. Good leader. To get him at 160 felt pretty good. 171, of course I did it. Justin Ibiogbe, got him in every draft. Took him in every single draft. The defensive tackle, Alabama. And then I did take Sundiata Anderson, an edge rusher. out of Western Kentucky. So took the edge late just because I was like, you know,
Yeah,
it's the only
right.
position that I didn't go grab outside of safety, which again, not a safety draft.
Yeah.
So this one for me was an A. Got 2 corners instead of 1. Got the receiver, got the offensive lineman, got the linebacker, and got running back safety. So I love that.
I
draft.
love that one, man. I really do.
Huge fan. The only things that I regret about that one is no tight end. That's it. No tight end. But going and getting who they got in free agency,
Yeah.
with Uzoma, and you know, you might be able to grab somebody off of the undrafted agency,
Mm-hmm.
which I'll be honest, everybody, I haven't had a chance to like the players that I think could drop there. So what I'm going to do, which leads us into this last part, is come Thursday, I will have a small list prepared because on Thursday, Regz and I will be together. And
That
we'll
is
be able
right.
to do 2 things. We'll be able to do 2 things. We'll be able to react to the Sixers playoff game 3. And we will be able to react to what I hope is an Eagles first round pick. There's still opportunity for them to trade out of the first round
Yeah.
if they choose to.
So
But we'll be able to do both.
I think the idea is there's a few different ways we can do it. We can either go live, like we can literally go live on YouTube and just react to things as they happen. Again, my family is here. I still have to put my kids to bed at some point. So doing that leaves a little bit of me being in and out.
It's just me on the
You'd
the
still
cast,
be
hanging
around
out.
for a little bit. You know, the kids would be coming in and out, but we could certainly just go live on YouTube and just literally, as soon as the draft starts, we can react. That'll lead into the basketball game. The Phillies may or may not. Are they on Thursday? I'm not sure. I didn't check that far ahead. Thursday's a pretty typical off day just because of how it works out. But
Yeah, but with them off today, I don't know that they're off next week
right.
because they had so many games in a row. No, 110 in Cincinnati.
Well, the game will have been over, so we'll have reacted to that. We would watch that earlier.
Yeah.
But I think the idea is for us to just kind of go live and just you will literally get the reaction as the entire thing happens.
I think I'm going big board. I'm coming with a big board.
We got look at there's all this space right here.
We're coming with a big board, and I'll just mark guys off
Yeah.
as we go. I'm gonna make a poster. I'm gonna go to Hobby Lobby tomorrow.
Yeah. Just remember, bring your microphone with you. Yeah.
I got it.
Just bring it with you.
Yeah, and I'll go to Hobby Lobby. I'm big board top. You know, I'll do the top 30 guys
There you go.
that I not including quarterbacks because we're
Right.
not taking quarterbacks.
Right.
But for Thursday night, we'll do the top 30 guys, and then we'll react and as we go and see if we can land
Yeah.
anything good.
It's gonna be great.
I love it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Anything else for the good of the cause, buddy?
No, man. This is a great one.
Good one. I appreciated it. It's fun. Good times for everybody. The Phixated. I just want everybody to know that tomorrow I'll be arriving at the game probably between 4 and 4:30 is my guess. We're leaving here around 2. So that's, I would assume, between 4 and 4:30, which is awesome. I will be heading into the stadium probably around 5:45, hour before game time. And the damage I'm going to do to my bank account tomorrow because of the City Connect merchandise I'm going to buy.
I haven't told you the number yet.
I know.
That
I
might-
know.
well-
We won't do it on the air.
No, we're gonna stop recording and then I'll tell you.
Yeah. Maybe I won't reach it. But for a solo, well, Andrea wants to buy too.
Listen,
Let her buy some.
If you two get close to our number, it'll be something.
Well, I'll tell you the things that I'm guaranteeing.
Yeah.
There's absolutely a hoodie coming out of this process.
Are you getting a jersey with a name on it?
I don't think I'm going to. I don't
Nope.
wear jerseys.
I like that play. We got our oldest son a nameless jersey. It's great.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna I'm going hat for
Mhm.
sure.
The hat is sick.
Hoodie for sure.
Yeah.
There was a pullover I saw that had the bell
Yep.
and on the back said Philly.
Yep.
Kind of want that. Would like a t-shirt.
Yeah. There's some good ones.
It's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get ugly.
The
Andrew's
hat,
been warned.
the hat and the hoodie are like perfect. I mean,
That hoodie I sent you the other day is the one I want.
yeah, and you saw me with the hoodie on.
Yeah. Yeah.
The hat's even better. The hat's like,
Yeah, it's gonna be a thing tomorrow.
yeah.
I might have to just clear a credit card. I usually don't clear my credit cards because it builds credit. But I mean, I'm gonna clear it right before I leave, and then
Yeah.
go buy more crap.
Yeah.
So, I think that's the play. That's the play. So, yeah, I'm excited to finally get to see them in person.
Yeah. That'll
but
be awesome.
also buy some of my own stuff. And honestly, if I get down there early enough because they're open,
Yeah.
I might just walk over, get my stuff, walk back, and hang out in the parking lot a little bit longer. We'll see what time we get down there and if anybody else, because I know a bunch of people heading down tomorrow. So depending on when everybody else gets down, we'll go from there. But that's the Phixated.
I love it.
Just wait, because I'll probably, with the draft Thursday. Well, yeah, maybe. Just says Philly on it,
I was about to say.
We'll see. Anyway, thank you all for listening. We appreciate you. We'll be back on Thursday live. So come on in and hang out with us.
Yeah.
And, enjoy the draft alongside.
We'll
of
tweet
us.
about it and all that stuff. So just,
Yeah. Come on in.
just
and
know
enjoy
it's
it.
coming. Yep.
Yep. Until then, if you aren't already doing so, follow us here on the YouTube channel by clicking subscribe on the button below. Then go on all of your podcast platforms. Follow us there and rate us. Then go on your social media. Follow at the Phixated Podcast on Twitter, at the Mic Drop 5 on Twitter, at Big Regz with a Z on Twitter, and the Phixated fan page on Facebook. Last but not least,
As
click
we
on the
talk about
merchandise link.
merch, we got great merch.
You click on the merchandise link in the show description. We love you. We hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead and a week leading into the draft. Happy draft week. Happy NBA playoffs week. Happy Phillies sweeping the White Sox weekend. We would love all of this to happen. So what I will say is take care of yourself. Take care of one another. We love you all. Thank you for listening. Go Phils. Go Howie. Go Sixers.
We love you, Donovan.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.